Welcome to Israel Now News. I'm Yochanan El-Rom.
And I'm Erin Viner.
In our top story, the people of Iran have taken to the streets to protest the Islamic Republic's state sponsorship of Palestinian terrorism. Frustrated Iranian citizens chanted "Death to Palestine" for the first time ever and called on the government to stop funding the Palestinian cause. The ruling Ayatollahs have fostered regional instability for decades, with the payment of billions of dollars in financial aid to the Hamas and Islamic Jihad Palestinian terror groups, to Lebanon's Hezbollah terrorist organization, to the brutal Assad regime in Syria, to Shiite militias in Iraq, and the Houthi rebels in Yemen. The rare nationwide displays of fury come amid rising instability in Iran's domestic economy, against a backdrop of uneasiness over the U.S. withdrawal from the 2015 nuclear pact and the renewal of sanctions placed on the hardline Islamic Republic. The country's currency has dropped nearly 50% in value over the last 6 months. Unemployment is at a record high, while banking systems and the private sector are faltering due to shortfalls in investment. Other slogans heard during the anti-government rallies included "We don't want the Ayatollahs," "Death to the dictator," as well as "No to Gaza," "No to Lebanon," "Leave Syria," and "Think of us." The phrases mark a decided shift from the more common rallying cries calling for death to Israel and death to America.
Now there's proof of the BDS link to terror. Israel's Strategic Affairs Ministry spent 2 years mapping a network of hatred of 300 boycott, divestment, and sanctions groups operating worldwide. The findings revealed that 42 of those organizations hold traceable ties to the Hamas and Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine terror groups and receive their orders directly from the Palestinian Authority. Among those outed by the report are the UK-based Palestine Solidarity Campaign and the Friends of Al-Aqsa group, both of which are linked to Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. Several are actually headed by former PFLP terrorists, such as the Defense for Children International Palestine Division and the Al-Haq and Al-Damir Human Rights Associations. Israeli Strategic Affairs Minister Gilad Erdan said that terrorist organizations and the BDS movement have never been closer ideologically and operationally. He vowed to continue to lead a counterattack against the perpetrators of the anti-Semitic hate campaign emanating from Gaza and Ramallah.
David Quarry, Britain's ambassador to Israel, described Prince William's recent historic visit to the Holy Land as a celebration of the modern relationship and partnership between the United Kingdom and Israel. The event marked the first time a representative of the British royal family conducted a formal visit to the Jewish state since its founding 70 years ago. The Duke of Cambridge made a pilgrimage to the Western Wall after being warmly received by President Reuven Rivlin and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He also attended a presentation on Israeli innovation during talks with representatives of leading Israeli startup companies. The heir to the British throne took time to lay a wreath and meet with survivors at the Yad Vashem Holocaust Memorial. And before departing Israel, William paid his respects at the tomb of his great-grandmother, Princess Alice, on the Mount of Olives. Alice was recognized as righteous among the nations for having saved a Jewish Greek family during the Holocaust.
The White House proposal on Middle East peace may be one step closer to being released. This after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu held talks with senior White House advisor and U.S. President Donald Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner in Jerusalem, joined by Washington's Middle East envoy Jason Greenblatt. During efforts to shore up regional support for the peace proposal, the U.S. delegation also met with the leaders of Egypt, Qatar, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia. Kushner said that he has little reason to believe that Palestinian Authority leader Mahmoud Abbas has either the ability or the desire to reach a peace treaty with Israel. He issued a direct appeal through Arab media for the Palestinian people to consider the American peace plan, even if their leaders won't. PLO Secretary General Saeb Erekat responded by accusing Washington of trying to overthrow the PA as part of its efforts to reach Trump's proclaimed deal of the century.
In related news, the Islamic spiritual leader of Jerusalem is attempting to incite Palestinians against President Trump's peace plan. The recent Muslim holiday of Eid al-Fitr brought more than 90,000 Arabs to pray at the Al-Aqsa Mosque and Dome of the Rock compound. The Mufti of Jerusalem seized the opportunity to try and indoctrinate the crowd against making a peace agreement with Israel. Sheikh Mohammed Hussein told worshippers that Trump's proposal aims at the liquidation of the Palestinian cause. The president's plan is yet to be unveiled to either side, but representatives from the Trump administration are in Israel laying the groundwork for the document's release.
Another atrocious Palestinian allegation against Israel has proven to be false. The death of an 8-month-old baby girl from Gaza on May 14th made headlines and fueled harsh criticism against Israel after it was claimed that she'd been killed by inhaling tear gas fired by IDF troops during Hamas-spurred violence on the border. But the child's cousin has come forward saying that Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar paid the family to lie. According to 20-year-old Gaza resident Mahmoud Omar, his relative passed away due to a pre-existing medical condition that runs in the family. This blood disease, says Omar, is similar to the one that also claimed the life of the baby's brother at the same age in 2017.
London is reportedly about to brand Hezbollah as a terror group, effectively outlawing the Lebanon-based organization from any operations in the United Kingdom. If such action is carried out, the UK will join the US, Canada, the Netherlands, and the Arab League nations, which have already made that designation. Until now, just Hezbollah's military wing was banned in London in 2008 when the group attacked British troops in Iraq. The European Union has also only blacklisted the armed wing once in the aftermath of a 2013 terror attack in Bulgaria that killed 5 Israeli tourists and their local Muslim bus driver. Shockingly, according to intelligence reports, there are currently 950 active Hezbollah operatives legally permitted to fundraise and recruit members in Germany.
Israel fired a Patriot missile against an incoming drone from Syria in the northern Golan Heights to prevent it from crossing the border. The Israeli army stressed that it will not allow a violation of the nation's sovereignty and will take action against any attempts to harm its citizens. Troops loyal to Syrian President Bashar al-Assad have been operating against rebel forces just over the frontier in the Quneitra province alongside Iranian-backed militias. Israel reiterated that Tehran's presence in Syria will not be tolerated and that its assets will continue to be targeted until they have been withdrawn from the war-ravaged Arab Republic. It's been reported that 2 Israeli missiles targeted a weapons depot belonging to non-Syrian militias near the Damascus International Airport. And in related developments, Syrian forces are believed to have now seized control of an abandoned United Nations post in the Golan Heights located in the demilitarized zone between Syria and Israel.
Israel's superiority at sea against hostile threats is often maintained by secret operations and intelligence successes in enemy territory. Several outstanding sailors and naval personnel were recently recognized during a military ceremony for their participation in these covert ops. The honorees included commandos from the elite Shayetet 13 unit, sailors from the 916 Patrol Boat Battalion, and others who remain unspecified due to the sensitive nature of their missions. The military members were awarded certificates of appreciation for their contributions to state security by Naval Commander Major General Eli Sharvit.
An Israeli startup has been awarded first prize in an international competition of technological innovations designed to combat terror. CardioScale Ltd. won for its development of a medical device that helps first responders to terrorist incidents or even accidents prioritize which of the victims require the most urgent attention. It's called the Cardiovascular Reserve Index, and it works by using a medical algorithm to assess patients' overall cardiovascular systems within just seconds. The analysis zeroes in on hemodynamic parameters like increased heart rates and abnormal cardiac output, as well as pressure levels of the blood, venous, and pulmonary arteries. The Israeli tech has already been used to save lives in more than 1,000 cases over the past few years. 210 competitors from around the world vied for top prize, which was awarded during the 2018 Combating Terrorism Technology Startup Challenge, sponsored by the U.S. Department of Defense, Israel's Defense Ministry, and the MIT Enterprise Forum of Israel.
The FIFA World Cup soccer competition has captured the attention of sports enthusiasts everywhere, with many hoping that one day they might be able to actually attend the games themselves. Well, that aspiration came true for one group of disabled Israeli children, thanks to the owner of England's Chelsea Football Club. Jewish businessman Roman Abramovich is a Russian native who recently immigrated to Israel. He was inspired to get involved after his Israeli friend and former Chelsea coach, Avram Grant, told him about a local version of the Make-A-Wish Foundation called Fulfilling Dreams. Abramovich did just that by flying 30 youngsters suffering various illnesses, along with their caregivers, to Russia so they could feel the excitement of watching the World Cup Championships live and up close.
Iraq's Miss Universe contestant paid a special visit to the Jewish state despite enormous pressure and even threats for having befriended an Israeli. Sarah Edan and her family were forced to flee from their home country after the 2017 pageant. Edan said that after posting a picture of herself with the Israeli competitor, Adar Gandelsman, she and her family began to receive death threats, so they moved to the United States. Miss Iraq has remained in contact with her Israeli friend and former rival and ultimately decided to pay her a visit. The two beauty queens toured many sites throughout the Jewish state, including Jerusalem's Machane Yehuda market, where she met several Iraqi Jews who Baghdad expelled from their homes in 1948 as retaliation for Israel's rebirth. Sarah Edan says that she was overwhelmed by the warmth and hospitality shown to her by the Jewish people, and that she was really glad that she came to Israel. That concludes the news portion of our show. Stay tuned for Ask the Source with Josh Reinstein.
Hello and welcome to Ask the Source. I'm your host Josh Reinstein, and we're here on a beautiful sunny day in Jerusalem on our rooftop studio. My guest today is Dr. Robert Maweri. He is the founder of WRNO Radio. Dr. Maweri, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
Tell our viewers a little about what is WRNO Radio.
WRNO Radio is a global shortwave radio that is reaching the entire northern hemisphere. We're 20 degrees off the true north, and we reach everybody in the northern hemisphere.
You're a spiritual leader, you're also a business leader, and you talk about quite a bit the blessings and the curses of Israel in vis-a-vis Africa. Tell us a little about what do you see happened in Africa in the 1970s when they cut relations with Israel?
You know, it's amazing how the Bible tells us exactly how to get blessed and how to get cursed. Genesis chapter 12, verse 3, God says, I'll bless those who bless you and I'll curse those who curse you. I've seen that in Africa. Look at South Africa at the beginning when they were supporting Israel, they were prosperous. Then the government turned against Israel and the economy began to collapse and chaos and confusion. It's all across Africa. Every nation that is turned against Israel, you can see the curse come upon them. And every nation that blessed Israel, for instance, Nigeria, they stopped the United Nations from voting in the Palestinian state, and they made the right decision. I called the president, I spoke to him and said, don't do that, and they didn't do it. And the Nigerian economy became #1 economy in Africa, not South Africa. South Africa has always been the #1 economy because they blessed Israel, and there was immediate effect that anybody can see. That's how true and how current it is. The Word of God is not just historical, it's present right now. When you bless Israel, you get the blessings of Abraham.
We're seeing now a huge swell of support from Christian nations in Africa, from Uganda to Zambia to Ghana. Are you expecting now a huge blessing over Africa?
I am expecting to see the transformation of all those countries in Africa that are embracing Israel. They have realized that they need the technology from Israel. They need the help from Israel. Again, it is the church in Africa that's leading this revolution, this transformation, this change, this paradigm shift. It's being led by the church, beginning to embrace the message. I was in South Africa and I spoke about Africa, the time has come to stand with Israel and receive the blessings that God has promised to those who bless Israel. And we are seeing that happening, country after country coming to Israel and say, hey, we need your help. As a matter of fact, only Israel has got what I call appropriate technology, the technology that will change Africa in terms of agriculture, in terms of it's every area in Africa. Africa needs Israel.
Yeah, but take a look at South Africa, for example. They have become violently anti-Israel. They're pulling their envoys from Israel. They're calling us an apartheid state of all places, the only free democracy in the Middle East. Do you suspect that South Africa will start going on the downhill? Is the reverse true too?
Well, here's what's happening in South Africa. There is a vibrant church in South Africa, but there is no real clear message about partnering with Israel, realizing that if this is a biblical issue, this is a prophetic issue, this is a current issue that's being debated around the world, and it's an issue that gets one answer. It's a biblical answer. God says to bless Israel if you are to be blessed. South Africa, as a matter of fact, is being really bombarded from the Muslim countries, trying to persuade them, trying to buy their politicians. But I see a movement in South Africa among the average people, because they go to church, they sing about Jerusalem, they read the Bible, and all the people in the Bible are Jewish people. It's all about Israel. It's all about Jerusalem. It's all about the people of God. That is why I believe that this change is going to take place, going back to supporting Israel. They used to support Israel, but because of the political changes in South Africa, there is a radical departure from that. But I believe that it's just a matter of time that South Africa will again be one of the biggest supporters of Israel. And the reason is their economy is going down, and they're going to realize we need Israel. We need Israel technology.
You talk about the relationship between Israel and Africa, and you're originally from Africa, but you live in America right now. What part does America have to play in this new relationship between Africa and Israel?
Well, America as a superpower, as a leader of the free world, we are defining the relationship between America and Israel, and Israel and the nations, because the nations need a leader, and America is a leader. We have taken the most bold step in declaring Jerusalem the capital of the Jewish people, the capital of Israel. And I believe that a lot of African countries and European countries, Asian countries, they're going to follow America, because America is going to be great again, not because of Donald Trump, because of the Holy One of Israel, because as a government and as a people, we are embracing Israel, and our economy is changing. We're going higher and higher.
Dr. Moriarty, there are literally tens of millions of people watching this show. What message do you have for our viewing audience?
The message I have for those who are viewing this program is that the time has come to pray for the peace of Jerusalem, because when you pray for the peace of Jerusalem, the Holy One of Israel, who bless you, he is listening, because he still loves Israel, and Israel is still the apple of God's eye. I would say to every person all over the world, because we all need to be blessed. Every family, every person needs a blessing. You want a blessing? Just do what God says. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May they prosper. Psalm 122 verse 6. You want to prosper? Do what God says. That's why I believe more than ever before, all over the world, people are to now begin to tell the churches and congregations and their communities and their politicians that it is time to embrace Israel, support Israel, stand with Israel, speak out for Israel, because Israel is the answer to the future of the world. The last battle will be in Israel. Why? Because the nation of the world will lose if we don't tell them the truth about Israel.
Thank you, Dr. Moriarty, for being on the show, and thank you for tuning in to Ask the Source. I'm your host, Josh Reinstein. Now back to the studio.
Up next, the return to Zion with Karen Hayesod.
Hello and welcome to the Return to Zion with Keren HaYesod. I'm Eliezer Moody Sandberg, World Chairman of Keren HaYesod, the leading official fundraising organization for the State of Israel. Today, Ukrainian Jews are in great danger as they live in war-torn Ukraine. Help us fulfill biblical prophecy by bringing our brothers and sisters back home to safety. God bless you from Jerusalem.
I will even gather you from the peoples and assemble you out of the countries where ye have been scattered, and I will give you the land of Israel. Ezekiel 11:17.
In eastern Ukraine, over the past 2.5 years, a brutal and cruel war has been raging. A savage war without clearly defined front lines. Against this backdrop, the Jews of eastern Ukraine have been in peril. The donors of Keren HaYesod from around the world have heeded the call and have come to their rescue. Our supporters realize that the window of opportunity to rescue these Jews may slam shut.
Lift up your eyes and look around. All your children gather and come to you. Isaiah 49:18.
We are here to support, all of us, the Jewish people who return to their homeland, to support each other.
These Jews must be extracted from burning towns, from raging battles, and from the chaos of eastern Ukraine, and brought back to their ancient homeland.
Я решила приехать в Израиль, потому что я последние полгода почувствовала свои еврейские корни и поняла, что я не могу больше находиться в своей стране, и я должна вернуться на свою историческую родину.
Корни говорят сами о себе, было рвение, плюс хотелось, чтобы сын узнал.
Воссоединение с семьей, наша семья здесь сейчас, папа, мама, сестра.
Большое волнение, но как-то у меня сразу, как мы прилетели, какое-то ощущение было правильности нашего выбора.
Для будущего нашего ребенка в первую очередь.
Keren HaYesod's friends around the world have been stepping forward to enable this life-saving effort to continue. Many thousands have already been rescued, yet many thousands still remain in eastern Ukraine. They must be brought out now. Through Keren HaYesod and our partner, the Jewish Agency, our dreams, our prayers, and our hopes are coming together in fulfillment of the biblical prophecy that foresaw the return of the Jewish people to their ancestral homeland.
Behold, I will bring them from the north country and gather them from the uttermost parts of the earth. A great company shall they return hither. Jeremiah 31:7.
The situation is highly unpredictable, and we must not miss this chance to help. We cannot let them down. All possible resources must be mobilized in this effort. You too can play your part in this crucial mission as Keren HaYesod provides these Jews in distress with new lives in Israel. Join us. We must not forsake them in their time of need.
Let's bless Israel together.
To donate and get information, call us at 1-800-505-1665 or visit our website at www.khisrael.org.
With the outbreak of the Syrian civil war in 2011, the withdrawal of American interest in that civil war, European interest in that civil war, a vacuum was created. And the vacuum filled up. It filled up with Russians, of course, but most dangerously, the vacuum was filled with Iranians. Syria, for Iran, is crucial. Iran has already taken over Lebanon. Lebanon is basically a province of Iran. Iran has basically taken over Iraq, much of Yemen, parts of the Gaza Strip. Iran is surrounding us on all sides. But directly to the north of us, on a very crucial and exposed border, is the Syrian border. And Syria is essential for Iran's quest for regional domination. Unlike Lebanon, unlike Iraq or Yemen, there are no Shiites in Syria. And so what is Iran doing? It is ethnically cleansing Syria of Sunni Arabs. It's kicking them out. They're going to Europe, they're going to the West. And Iran is replacing those Sunni Arabs with Shiite militiamen from as far away as Pakistan and Afghanistan, settling them in former Sunni neighborhoods. The idea is to transform Syria as well into an Iranian province, and then to militarize Syria. Iran is assiduously building bases, airstrips. It wants to build a port on the Mediterranean for nuclear submarines. All this with one goal: surrounding Israel on all sides, transforming the Golan Heights, that sensitive border, into an active military front against us, confronting us with missiles based in Syria, with terrorists based in Syria. And for this reason, Israel has drawn red lines. We will not allow Iran to establish bases, ports, or airstrips in Syria. We will stop them. And for that reason, we deeply appreciate the American administration's position that Iran must completely withdraw from Syria and restore the quiet on Israel's northern border.
Lift up your eyes and look around. All your children gather and come to you. The biblical prophecy is unfolding right before our very eyes. The people of Israel are returning to the Promised Land after 2,000 years of exile. But millions of Jews are still longing to come home. Anti-Semitism threatens many of the Jews. We must rescue them before the window of opportunity slams shut. Bless Israel by supporting Keren HaYesod United Israel Appeal, the leading official fundraising organization for the State of Israel. Together, we can fulfill the prophecy of the Bible.
Let us bless Israel together.
To donate and get information, call us at 1-800-505-1665 or visit our website at www.khisrael.org.
That's all for this edition of Israel Now News. I'm Yochanan Elrom.
And I'm Erin Viner, reporting from our studio in Jerusalem. Please join us again next week for all of your Israel updates.